So Maker historically has been one of the first to allocate into real-world assets. From the beginning, it was decided that Maker would be going this route because it was quickly recognized that a stablecoin could not scale without real-world assets. And so initially, when the interest rates went up in 2022, there was a lot of stablecoins on the balance sheet, but they were yielding nothing. And so as part of this process, Maker started allocating directly to Treasury bills to get the yield that was not going out to it at the time. So at the time, it was just getting it done, sort of a first version. This was the Andromeda allocation that's on the balance sheet. And so now we're unwinding that and moving it into the more modern version of this, which is tokenized Treasury bills in an effort to improve the transparency of the balance sheet. And this is the goal of Sky, formerly Maker. This is the goal to increase transparency of the balance sheet. So you as a USDS holder can always know what's backing your assets at all time in real time.
The team at Spark have got a huge balance sheet. They've had billions of dollars in treasuries, and they've turned around and allocated $1 billion of that to the tokenized markets. And so what that did is energized and galvanized 40 different companies to build on-chain money market funds and really help the market suddenly grow. And so, the market's $4.8 billion now. The Maker allocation is going to add billions and billions of dollars to the overall market. And so it's energized the entire segment to build some great product. And so for me, that's the driving catalyst has been a real demand side use case.
We knew the partners would submit competitive bids, and our allocation is quite significant. Although the Grand Prix is for $1 billion, the actual market conditions imply that it's actually going to look more like $3.6 billion at current market conditions. Of course, this can change, so we don't really want to put that in stone. But yeah, as of current market conditions, the allocation actually is going to be much larger.
Well, we have a long-term strategy around tokenization that's really focused on the potential to disrupt the way that we deliver sort of our core asset management services to clients. And so we're pretty proactively looking for ways to move along that journey, that spectrum. And this was a really unique opportunity to move into the tokenization space with actual commercial kind of impetus behind it, and not have it be purely experimental, but really doing a real project, delivering real value to a real client. And so that was really, really exciting for us. It's the first time that there's been a really robust institutional competitive process for selecting any allocation really in this space, right? And so, if we think about our business servicing institutional managers globally, we're used to that sort of kind of really robust process. And I think seeing that come into the tokenization world helped give us, frankly, a lot of confidence that we were going to be working with partners that were well vetted. And I think it's a very important step towards the mass adoption of tokenized products by institutions globally, instead of it being something that they see as being, crypto or retail, but actually really robust and integrated into that sort of traditional financial model, but delivering additional benefits, right? And so for us, that's the key thing. Our strategy at a corporate level is around what we call blockchain readiness. And what that means is that we believe that there's a future state where blockchain materially disrupts and hopefully improves the way that we deliver our services to clients. We don't know whether that's going to happen in a year or 5 years or 10 years, right? So what we want to do is maintain our position on the edge of that transformation, not ahead of it and not behind it, right? And so this is a huge step for us to be staying on that edge and really critical to executing on that strategy.
We've worked with Centrifuge. They've been around with Maker since the beginning. So with some of the first experiments, more with private credit, that was back as early as, I think it was 2020, 2021. So Centrifuge has been building out the RWA infrastructure for a while. So it was a very clear choice for us to be able to support them. I just view this as a long time coming. They've just been a great partner, and it made complete sense to allocate to them. Now, in continuing with this, Centrifuge has introduced this standard, which allows us to, this is like the RWA version of that, where we can allocate in an asynchronous way, where it takes, a day or two for things to complete the actions in TradFi. And so this sort of interface makes it standard so that we can just plug into this, and everything is just very straightforward. super excited that Centrifuge has gone ahead with this. We're big fans on our end.
Yeah, I think like the way we built it, so the technical specifications of how we built it are very, very good and aligns exactly to how Spark want their funds to be like built and designed. I would say as well, the liquidity that we've embedded into it, we've added an instant redemption liquidity component, which we call the Anemoy liquidity network. That's been very powerful. So clients can actually instantly redeem up to $100 million, almost instantly for their fund if they want that money back. It's very quick. So if there's a black swan event or there's something that the Sky team want that money back very, very quickly, we can service that. And I'd say the last thing is obviously Janus Henderson and that partnership. So what we needed to do is really strengthen the bench and the underlying asset itself and how it's managed. And so for us, the biggest change we made was partnering with Janus Henderson to make sure that their expertise in fund management came to bear. And we essentially were the technology of the partnership, and they're the asset management experience. And I think together it created a perfect fund for to win the Grand Prix.
We were making a bet that we believed that Centrifuge and Anemoy were the right partners, and we're going to be able to deliver, again, this sort of best-in-class experience from a technology perspective in terms of the integrations, all of those pieces. And going through that process, the diligence with Steakhouse, it validated that approach. From the asset management perspective, it's sort of bread and butter for us. Right? Like we go through institutional RFPs all day, every day, and this was very similar to any other institutional RFP that we would go through. But we could not have won this without having best-in-class partner in Centrifuge, and that was validated through the process. If you're a traditional asset manager or traditional institution, this looks and feels a lot like a traditional RFP, an institutional cash allocation, and that will raise people's attention. They might not really understand what tokenization is. They might not understand what a Grand Prix is. They might not know who Sky is, but what they see is there's a large RFP for up to $1 billion of managed assets, and a bunch of traditional asset managers participated, and Janus Henderson, BlackRock, Superstate, like brand names, and so that will get attention. And so I think it could be quite a kind of watershed moment in terms of large institutions recognizing that there is a reason to potentially consider tokenized funds in that process.
The Treasury bill market is $4.6 billion right now, and we're about to deploy, again, caveat, current market conditions, $3.6 billion. So this will almost double the market size very quickly. So quite significant. But yeah, we really want to bring everything on chain. And so, I think we'll get there. There's, many, many trillions of assets out there, and we need to get it all on chain. And I view it as an inevitability that that's going to happen just because of the capital efficiency improvements that exist within the blockchain. So I think it's just this pushing on all fronts, getting institutions more familiar with the space, and just little by little we get them on chain, and we won't have DeFi and TradFi anymore. Eventually, in 5 years, I think it's just going to be finance.